Hello there guys, and welcome back to Civilization 5 Brave New World, playing as England. Now there are a couple of issues that we need to get sorted out before we continue on with our plot to dominate the world. First of all, we do have a happiness issue. Now we'll probably get this sorted out as soon as we get these gems and truffles connected up with York, so that's not too much of a problem. I'll probably also drop another city down here at some point, maybe this end or maybe down here, in an effort to try and get some of the silver, which could help us out. I might build it down here because we've got the forests around, which will give us a much better source of food than building in the desert. Now, obviously, normally when you put a city down, you want to try and get as many of one resource as possible, because you do get a happiness bonus from having a single resource, as you can see, +4 happiness when improved. But you only get that happiness bonus once. So once you actually have multiple copies of a single resource, the only advantage to having multiples is that you can trade or sell the surplus to another civ. Now that becomes more and more difficult when you're actually playing a domination game, because as you get the warmonger penalty, most of the other civilizations are less and less willing to trade with you. So we've already got a bit of silver here actually. So going and getting the rest of this silver probably isn't all that useful. There's gems here, but of course we've already got gems here, which we will get. So building an extra city just to get those resources is a little bit pointless. I mean, yes, it will give us more production output on the whole, but it won't actually give us any additional happiness. We don't really have any other resources up here. We could improve these truffles as well, actually. But they're the only sort of 3 resources we've got. Oh, we've got the silk as well, of course, which I think we have already improved. Yeah, we have a plantation there. So, in all, we have silver, silk, gems, and truffles. We haven't got the gems or truffles connected up yet, but we will do soon enough. And that's pretty much all we have on this part of the island. So building extra cities isn't all that great a thing. We also want to carry on exploring over here. We know that we've got barbarian encampments. We'd like to try and take these barbarians out because it will give us XP for some of our units. It will also allow us to get some additional culture, because we do get culture from killing barbarians. So we need to make sure that we keep our cities growing. Obviously, we want to make sure that we have a good cultural output, because at the moment it's pretty low. We also need to have relatively good science output as well. And we also need to get a few ships out to start exploring. It's more important on a domination victory to be aware of where everybody is and what everybody is doing. So let's go on to the next turn. So we know who everybody is apart from one civilization at the moment. We're still at the bottom of the scoreboard, but as I've said before, score isn't everything. Certainly in this game. And then we'll start building up our navy, because what we're going to do mostly is concentrate on naval victory. So we're going to start to heal some of these units up. We're also going to start bringing some of these units forward. I know I've got bandits up here. I always call them bandits, and I've got barbarians up here. I would like to get these ruins, but I know there's a lot of barbarians, so I'm going to try and deal with this one down here first. So these scouts can't really do an awful lot. I'm just going to put them on alert for the time being, and it'll give me some warning if those barbarians do start approaching. Obviously, we wiped out the Celts, so we now have Edinburgh, and that's currently working on the watermill. I figured I might as well let that finish, because it will help with production. So, silver and gold per turn to Austria has ended. We'll see if she's willing to renew that, actually. Probably won't, but it's still neutral. And we're actually friendly with Genghis Khan. That's because he actually doesn't mind warmongers. If we go to him and we mouse over here, probably a declaration of friendship. Doesn't look like we've actually gained the warmonger penalty yet. Maybe it was too early on for that really to bother.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
they see the potential threat posed by my warmongering, and they hate warmongers, but they are still neutral. No contested borders embassy in the capital, so maybe she is willing to
Ihr sagtet?
give us gold for silver.
Ich stimme zu.
And I just stuffed that up because I hit propose and didn't ask for anything in return. What a dumbass. Okay, fair enough. Well, I can't do anything about that now. I can't undo that. I can't believe I did that. What a rookie error. So in case you missed what I did there, I added silver, but forgot to ask her what she'd give me in return, hit propose, and basically said, would you like some silver for nothing? And she went, oh, yes, please. So now I don't have any spare silver to trade away, which is a bit of a pain. But never mind, I lose a bit of gold per turn. That's my own stupid fault. That'll teach me to be more careful what I am doing in the future. These guys should all be healing up. Now, what I would have liked to have done is to get these archers back to my own territory first and get them upgraded to longbowmen. Would have made them much more useful, but can't really afford to do that right now, so we'll just continue to heal everybody up. Now, once again, it does seem like we're just burning through turns and not actually getting anywhere. And that is partially the case. Mutual embassies from Germany, so let's go for that. Now, we do know that Germany's capital is on the coast, so, and they are quite close to us, so that is possibly one of the civs that we can take out quite early on. We've completed ironworking. Now, Germany do like to expand, and they will build especially on Archipelago style maps, they will start sending settlers all over the place and colonising various different islands. Now, if you also remember, right near the beginning of this game, I did try and get the Great Lighthouse, which I failed because somebody beat me to it. And I never did find out who that was. But obviously it has to be built on a coastal city. And if I can find and take that city, I will get the Great Lighthouse. What we can do is, if we actually look at the diplomatic overview and global politics, Great Lighthouse is actually owned by Austria. So, where is Austria? Have we not found... We don't have a mutual embassy with them yet. Can we get a mutual embassy with them? And we'll find out where they are.
Grüß Gott.
They have an embassy in our capital. We don't have one in theirs.
Ich höre.
Oh, embassy. What do you want for this? 1 gold per turn. I'm going to say yes for now, because that instantly will tell us where Austria is, and it is down there. So if we can go and capture Vienna, and as you can see, they've put it in this annoying little inlet where I can only get 1 melee ship in at a time. But if I can take this, then we will get the Great Lighthouse, and that could be very, very useful to us. So we have production to choose in London. We've finished creating our library. Now, there isn't really an awful lot here that gives us happiness. We could go for the Colossus, would be quite nice. Terracotta Army is kind of pointless at the moment. It would give us a copy of all of the units we have. And as good as that is, it would mainly be land units, which would just be costing us more money per turn. Don't really need the food at the moment. I think we are growing relatively quickly. Obviously, we've slowed down our focus on growth because we are unhappy, and you don't want your city to grow when you're unhappy. So we're going to try and go for the Colossus and see if it's possible to get that produced. Edinburgh has finished its watermill. So what we will do next is go for a monument. Let's do all we can to start trying to get some culture increases. Our spearmen have now healed. Going to move them down here. I can instantly see they have archers, which I don't want to get too close to. So I am going to move out of range. Wait for my archers to heal up and then move them closer. We can now see where their pikemen are. So I'm going to try and edge my... Yeah, they've still got hand axes. That's a little bit dumb of me. They can now throw those at me. But I was just trying to keep an eye on where everybody was. I was hoping I could go and ninja those ancient ruins, to be honest. But that's not going to happen. I may very well take a hit here. Now, Austria's also completed the pyramids. And also we can see that Austria is at the top of the scoreboard. So if I do get the opportunity to take Austria out, then that is going to be absolutely brilliant for me. It's very tempting to try and rob that. I think I'm going to, because my scouts are pretty useless at the moment. And that actually gives us 60 faith, which is nice. We probably won't be able to run away in time, sadly, but that boost of faith was absolutely brilliant. These guys are taking rather a long time to heal, but I can't do an awful lot about that. Those guys can stay where they are on alert, and we go for another turn. So... even though Germany is technically closer, I think the bigger threat for me at the moment is actually from Austria, and I think those are the ones I should be dealing with. So we are definitely going to go down the route of getting ourselves some ships and getting a navy built. This is probably where we lose our scouts. Hardly surprising. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get away from them because obviously we are next to an enemy unit, which means we can only move a single tile. So we're still within range of the hand axes, unfortunately. And our workers have now built a farm in York, so we're going to get them across there and we'll get those truffles connected, which will put us back in a positive happiness. Austria's taking their turn. So yes, I definitely think Austria should be our first target. We don't want them to get away from us. So we have found Sweden. Won't declare war just yet with them. Yeah, did we actually get away with that? Okay, we found a natural wonder, which is brilliant because that gives us a little bit of extra happiness, which also puts us back on to 0. But we're still going to get you guys to construct a camp so we can get these truffles. We are going to take these scouts and do our best to run away. Obviously, it's all hills here and we ignore the terrain penalties, so we should be able to get away. Now, as you can see, we are starting to get units nearby that could be a potential pain, so I am going to move my archers onto this hill. I'm also going to move these guys onto this hill. If they try and get any closer, they won't be able to get close enough to attack, but they will be able to get onto an adjacent hex, and if they do that, we'll be able to take these guys out relatively easily. And then we'll try and wipe that camp out. And then we'll try and go north and deal with the other camp. But I did get the ruins, which is what I wanted more than anything. Typical, Colossus has been built in a land far away. So that's something else that I've lost. York has grown. Now, who managed to get the... wasn't World Congress. Who managed to get the Colossus? Did it actually tell me there? Global politics. The Swedes, they're doing quite well. Statue of Zeus, Great Library, Colossus. So, it'd be quite nice to take those out as well. Let's have a look and see if we can get mutual embassies with them. Embassy, propose, not a problem. And we can see they are right over there. So, potentially a good place to go directly after we take out Maria. Well, we won't be taking her out, but hopefully we will take out Vienna. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, so back over to London. Well, I guess now we have to concentrate on getting ourselves a bit of a navy going. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are just stuck with triremes and we need some additional research. We could try and go for the Hanging Gardens. The chances are we won't get it. We can't go for the Circus Maximus because we still require 2 more Colosseums. No point in having a caravanserai because we don't have any land caravans. Stable would give us production when building mounted units, but we're not really going to be doing that too much. We will go for a lighthouse. It's not going to be much use to us at the moment, but it may well be later on. Or, the other option is, do I risk building another settler? But there's no extra resources I can really collect that's going to help. So I think we stick with the lighthouse for the time being. Now these guys have definitely wandered too close. So we're going to soften them up with our archers. And then get a decisive victory with our spearmen. And we get some free culture for that. We have taken a bit of damage with both of these units, but we're still good. You can stay there and heal up. And we'll go on to the next turn. So this is one of the things which is a bit of a pain if you want to try and get a naval victory, is you do need quite a bit of technology before you can actually start doing that. Genghis Khan wants to go to war with Sweden. Now, I've got no interest in doing that for the time being, because I don't really have any ability to do so. But yes, it would certainly be useful to gang up on somebody later on. And I think Sweden and Austria are probably the 2 countries that have the most useful wonders to me, and it would be nice to be able to take both of those. So the Barbarians get their turn, and don't seem to do an awful lot. Now I can move close enough with my archers here to fire at their archers. I'm also going to move my spearmen within melee range. Edinburgh has now finished its monument. I think what we will do now is get a Colosseum. It will take quite a while though, which is a bit of a pain. But we need it nonetheless. So let's get the Colosseum built and go on to the next turn. Now again, we're on turn 138 and we're not doing much per turn, but I guarantee by the time we get to sort of turn 200, we will have so much stuff to do and so many units to move, it will just not be funny. So Gustavus has proven that the world is round, which basically means that he has managed to get a unit from one side of the map all the way across to the other side of the map and managed to keep on going all the way through the world and then eventually come back round to where he started. You don't have to do it in a straight line, but providing you can get a unit off one end of the map and back on the other, you have proven that the world is round. So that's what's just happened there. There is an achievement for that as well if you don't have it already. So that's some more damage with the archers. Now, both of these units are actually maxed out on XP from barbarians anyway, so we might as well just go in and wipe them out the old-fashioned way. So that's another camp cleared. That's some extra money. That is some extra culture. Obviously, we've found this is tundra, so this particular part of the land isn't useful. They do have a boat there, which I probably can't do anything about. Next, we will head north and deal with this camp up here. Looks like we've fully explored this island. There isn't an awful lot of use on here. So in order to get the remaining luxury resources that we need for happiness, we've got two options. We can either try and trade for them with the people that will trade with us. That's assuming we have enough gold or anything we can trade for them. Or our other option is to just capture other people's lands and use that. That's philosophy finished. So as you can see, if we look at something like Berlin, for example, Berlin have pearls. So if we capture Berlin, we'll have access to pearls as well. So we will have to be careful though, because not only do we have to take these lands, but we also have to defend them as well, which can be difficult when you don't have land units. So on to production at London. We have indeed finished our lighthouse. So I could go on to the temple. The problem is everything we build here is actually costing us more maintenance. Hanging Gardens would give us additional food, which could be useful. But somebody else is probably already building it. Let's try it anyway. Let's see if we can get away with it. So, what did we finish that for? Temple, National College was what we went for that for. But we need a library built in all cities before we can get the National College anyway. So, don't worry about that too much at the moment. What we really need to go for is Compass, because Compass will give us the Galleass and the harbour. Eventually, we want to be able to get up to here. Well, I mean, ideally, we want to have navigation. Navigation is where things start to turn for the English, because we get privateers and we get ship of the line. This is where we sort of have our game changer as a nation. But in the meantime, I need to concentrate on building up other stuff. So we're going to go for currency, because we certainly need to get an ability to generate some cash. We're going to have quite a substantial navy, so we're going to be hemorrhaging money per turn. And we are going to start moving all of these units back up to the north, so we can deal with that other barbarian camp. You guys have healed up, we can go back on to alert. And then what I will probably do after this is get rid of my scouts, because they're a little bit useless now. I mean, admittedly, they've got embarkation, so I could just send them out exploring. But it's kind of pointless, really. I might on these maps where you have very small land masses, it's easily enough done with caravels and things like that. So we're going to just do our best to try and get these guys up there to deal. How long is it taking these guys to get that camp built and get those truffles connected up? Do seem to be taking their time. Must have done it on this turn because our happiness has now gone up to, well, it went up to 3 and then went back down to 2. So let's continue moving these guys forward. Very difficult, of course, because of this awful hilly terrain. Yep, they have finished. So we are back into positive happiness. Now, what we could do, we don't have any gems anywhere else, do we? No, that's a bit of a pain. So I think what I will do is I will get them down here and connect these truffles up, and then at least we'll have something that we can trade for something else. We'll probably be able to trade with Genghis Khan, because he doesn't mind a bit of warmongering. He's quite happy about that. I mean, I'll be honest, the game could still go either way. As I've said before on the various playthroughs I've done of Civilization, I'm not an expert at this game. You know, I don't play optimally. I make mistakes, and the advice and tactics that I try and give shouldn't be taken as gospel. The point of these videos is more to give you guys an idea of what the game is and how it works, and try and explain some of the mechanics of the game. I'm not a strategic mastermind. Saying that, I think I've only ever lost a couple of games of Civ 5, and I've put, I don't know, probably close to 200 hours into this game or something ridiculous like that. I know on my previous videos I have played through on Prince, but that was just for the purpose of a quicker and easier playthrough, one that, you know, didn't take sort of months to complete. But I have played on King. I play on King regularly because I find Prince is a little bit too easy. I have tried playing on Emperor. Again, I find Emperor is a little bit of a struggle. It's doable, but I find it quite tough. But I don't usually go for domination victories. I usually prefer passive victories, preferring either the scientific victory, which I'll be honest is one of the easiest victory types, or the cultural victory. I've done a couple of diplomatic victories, but for me, diplomatic victories feel like a bit of a waste, because what you're essentially doing is buying a win, and I don't particularly like that. I know I haven't done a video on a diplomatic victory yet. I will probably do that at some point in the future, just so that you guys can sort of see what I'm going on about with it, what it actually means. But basically, in order to win a diplomatic victory, you need to make sure you have enough votes to be able to win the vote for world leader. And the only way to have enough votes is to either completely wipe out all of the city-states, or to actually control all the city-states, to have them as your allies. And the easiest way to do that is to just rake in lots and lots of gold per turn and just pay them all off. So Isabella provided gold every turn has ended. I'm not too sure what that was for. Let's just have a look in the diplomatic overview at deal history. And it's a completed deal. And it was for embassy. She was paying us gold for embassy. So we could potentially try and reignite that deal.
Saludos.
So let's trade.
Continuad.
Oh, already have an embassy in the capital. Once the embassy's that's already there. What do you want for this?
No ante Dios.
Oh. Okay, fine. Fair enough. So that's hindered our gold acquisition a little bit more, but it's not the end of the world. Unit still needs orders. We're just going to continue to try and march all of you guys forwards. It will take a while because of all these hills, which is rather annoying. So I think what I'll do with you guys is get you back to home territory and then just sell you off. Give us a little tiny bit of gold back in the bank, and it will also get rid of another unit maintenance. And we have researched currency. So let's get these guys through here out of the way first, so we can march you guys forwards. You want to carry on and get yourself over there. Choose research. Now we have currency. What do we go into from here? Well, we should go into guilds probably, because that will allow us to construct trading posts. That would be quite useful. Engineering would also be good. We don't need to worry an awful lot about this. I mean, additional trade routes is nice. That would be useful. Bridges over rivers. Again, we're not going to be building an awful lot of roads, so that's kind of pointless as well. Constructing a fort, we don't really need to do. We don't really need the Great Wall, because we're unlikely to be attacked by any land forces. Obviously, it is possible that people can land forces on our island, but we should be able to clear them up before they get there with our navy, when we eventually get one up and running. Though saying that, the additional trade route would be nice. But I think what I'm going to do is go into guilds first. Then I'll probably swing back round and pick up drama and poetry, because we're going to need that to eventually get to compass. So I'll queue that up next. We do need to work towards that as quick as possible. You guys are going to start on that camp, because I know it will take you absolutely ages. Borobudur has been built in a land far away, which is rather annoying. I think what I'm also going to do, and this may be a little bit risky, we have a great merchant, which is absolutely brilliant, What I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to sell this warrior, because I don't think we need it. Now, I have a choice. What do I do with this great merchant? Do I build myself a customs house, or do I go and pop it in a city-state for an instant boost of cash? I think the most sensible thing to do would be to move it out onto this desert tile, because obviously the desert tile isn't going to be an awful lot of use. Move it out onto this desert tile, and then... Actually, I might even leave him on this tile here. I was going to say I'll use this tile for farmland because it's next to a river, but yeah, I think we'll actually just pop it here if we can, and then that will allow me to work it for one food, one production, and then six gold, is it? Can't remember. Anyway, we'll have a look. That's the best way. It's nice and early on in the game, and we'll probably get the most out of it if we do that. So you guys are going to continue to move forwards. In fact, I should probably have the the spearmen at the front and the archers at the back. So we'll do a quick swap. You guys will eventually get over there. And again, not an awful lot we can do. Now you want to attack Germany. Fine. Go, if you want to fight with them, you go for it. I really don't mind. Hanging Gardens built in a land far away. There's actually an achievement, and I think I got this achievement the very first time I played Civilization 5, and I can't remember what the achievement is called. But you basically get the achievement if, in a single game, you try and build 10 wonders and get pipped at the post on at least 10, and I got that in my very first game. It's very, and that was playing at something like Chieftain or something like that. Very easy to get beaten to various wonders. So, London, you're not having a lot of luck, but we could go for the mint. Now, we do have silver nearby, so that would certainly help us with our gold. We could also go for a market, which would give us +1 gold anyway. So we're going to get both of those built. We're going to go for the mint first, and then we will get the market up and running. We are going to build a customs house here, so that will now give us +4 gold from this tile. That's assuming we are working it. It is actually on gold focus. I don't know why. I'd prefer it on default focus. It'll actually help things out a little bit. It will get worked anyway, so it is actually giving us some extra gold. Let's go on to the next turn. We're currently working the mine. I just wonder why the amount of gold per turn didn't actually go up. City becomes religious, which is always good, I think. Let's have a look. We are working the mine. Okay, let's just check that out. Yeah, we have become religious, I think. Did we set up a religion? We have a pantheon. Oh, Protestantism. So we're actually getting some of our religion from Germany. Oh, well. We'd prefer for that not to happen, but we don't have our own religion at the moment. Now, what do we actually get from that? If we actually look at beliefs, well, the Pantheon only affects Germany themselves, so they get +1 happiness from cities with a population of +1. Founder, again, that only affects the Germans. They gain science when a missionary or prophet spreads their religion. Follower, pagodas. Use faith to purchase pagodas. Now, that's a follower belief, so we, as a follower of their religion, would be able to do that. Don't know if I want to do that anyway. Saving up for my own great profit. So let's continue to move these guys forward on the long, slow march over to the Barbarian camp. You guys, you are done. That will only give me back 6 gold. But I do now gain 1 gold per turn because I'm not spending the 1 gold per turn to keep that unit on the battlefield. Obviously, you've got to pay to feed them and clothe them. It's always worth bearing in mind in strategy games like this that what you actually see on the battlefield is an abstraction. I mean, of course, you know, this group of archers isn't just 10 men. It probably represents a you know, sort of a battalion of thousands of men. And, you know, these guys have been on the battlefield for years. It takes them years to get from one hex to another. Okay, now we have the hand axes. Now that's not particularly brilliant, because there's no easy way for me to get around there. So what I'm going to do... I can't move those guys back, but we're going to have to come up on these guys from behind. Edinburgh has now finished the Colosseum. That helps with the happiness problems somewhat. We're losing a lot of money now. That's probably a deal that ended. Right, what was he providing gold for? I do not recall. What should we go for here? Let's get the shrine up and running. Okay, so let's have a look at what that deal was. So it was gold per turn for embassy. Well, we weren't getting 9 gold per turn for an embassy. That's as sure as anything. Maybe it's a cargo ship. Yes, of course it is. So we'll go back to Zurich, and that will put us back up to a flat 0. So we're not gaining money, but at the same time we're not losing money. And once we get the mint and the market built in London, that will certainly help. That then makes it much more worthwhile building a second city around to collect some of the other silver. But in the desert, again, probably not worth it. So let's go on to the next turn. I'm just going to move over here because this is probably where any action that happens on this turn will happen. Those hand axes will probably attack my spearmen. It's just going to be very difficult for me to move up behind these barbarians. They've actually withdrawn, which I wasn't expecting to happen. But I'm going to move my archers in range. Obviously now they're in range of me. I think these guys have a ranged attack of 2 hexes. Not entirely sure, but I'm going to move these guys onto the hill anyway. We'll probably be ending this video very shortly, so let's at least try and do this. Now here we go. This is very good for us because we now have additional truffles, and as I said, Genghis Khan would probably be willing to trade with us because he doesn't mind the occasional bit of warmongering. And he has offered us 2 flat gold, 4 gold per turn, which is an excellent amount of money, and he's also offered us embassy and open borders just for some truffles. So we're going to accept that. It's absolutely brilliant, which now means we get to see where Mongolia is on the map as well. So he's kind of stuck in the middle between Germany, Sweden and Austria, which is probably why he keeps wanting to go to war with them. Of course, his capital is also on the coast, which is absolutely excellent news for us. So the first thing we want to try and do is take out these hand axes if we can. Now, we've got a forest in the way, which limits our ability to fire arrows. But, however, we are on a hill. We should be able to... Oh, because the forest is always on a hill. There we go. So... you can't see over a forest unless you're on a hill, but the forest is also on a hill, so I still can't see over the forest. That's where the issue lies there. So what I am going to have to do with those guys is move them into the forest, which is a bit of a pain. I am going to attack them with the spearmen because they are quite strong. We will take some damage, but they're going to come out of this worse. Now, it is possible that they will attack us with the barbarian brutes here in the camp, but I very much doubt they will do that. London is now going to go on and do the market. Now, obviously, you can see the market originally said it was going to take 4 turns. It now says it's going to take 9. That's because this place is on default focus, and it was originally not growing. Let's put it back onto production focus. It's down to 5 turns from 6. The reason is because when we were unhappy, it stopped. It moved a lot of people out of the food-producing tiles in order not to expand. We've almost got our shrine built here as well. Right, unit needs orders, you guys, as I thought, because you've now finished with those truffles. So let's go and connect up these truffles as well. We may find ourselves a second buyer, which would be really useful. And I would like to try and just clear up this barbarian camp before ending the video, so let's see if we can't do that. Genghis Khan is now slipped down below us on the rankings. I'm not entirely sure why. Yep, so I was expecting that to happen. Obviously, they can get away with it. They're a ranged unit. They're not going to take any damage from that. You guys go ahead and build the camp on those truffles. You guys are now in a position where you can fire at these hand axes. And you guys can now move over here and take these guys out. And we can also then fire on the barbarian camp from this hex as well. So we should be good there. Edinburgh has finished the shrine. Now, is it worth building anything else here? I think we will get ourselves... We do have some fish here, so it's probably worth having a lighthouse, because we'll be working that tile. So let's go on to the next turn again. Okay, so someone's having a go at that boat, although we can't see who. It's probably the Mongolians. Terracotta army has been built in a land far away. So somebody's just doubled the size of their army. Now, we may adopt a policy, and as always, I say before you get into a fight, adopt your policies first, because you may pick something that helps you in the fight. So each city with a garrison increases local happiness by 1 and culture by 2. Could be quite useful. And gold of purchasing military units reduced by 33%. Constructing barracks, armories, military academies. Now that says military units. I don't think that includes naval units. So I don't want to go for that just yet. What we probably should do is go down to something like legalism, because that will give us landed elite and monarchy, which will give us extra gold and reduce unhappiness. So we're going to go for that for the time being. Now let us see if we can finish off these barbarians. Should do a fair bit of damage with the archers, and this will be a minor victory but not a decisive one. As we can see, it was a Mongolian trireme that was dealing with them there. And there we go. Even though it said a minor victory, it didn't say a decisive victory, we still actually won. So that's good. So that's all the barbarians on this island wiped out that we are aware of. York has now finished whatever York was doing. So I think what we're going to go for is possibly... We're going to go for a lighthouse, which is going to take just like a million turns. And we're also going to purchase a workboat, because they're quite cheap. And we'll use that to work the fish on this hex. And then when we get the lighthouse, it will actually double the amount of food that we get from there. That cargo ship is still delivering food to York, but it doesn't have an awful lot of production, unfortunately. So we will go on to the next turn, and I will make my moves, and then we'll end the video there. So Genghis Khan has declared war on Germany. So there we go. That's our first war that isn't us. Kathmandu is now... Ooh, glitching the map out. Okay, we've researched guilds. We've entered the medieval era. So a lot going on this turn. There's our workboat, so let's move that out and create fishing boats there. Now, Kathmandu has also become friendly. That's probably because we cleared out that barbarian camp. So let's move our archers back. Once we get into friendly territory, we can upgrade. I am just going to have a little peek up here. I'm assuming that is a coastal tile. It certainly looks like that's the end of the map, actually. And that's pretty much all I can do from there. We certainly need to sort out York. It isn't growing particularly well. And, well, it is about to expand, but it doesn't have an awful lot of tiles it can work. So having the lighthouse will certainly help, because then we'll get extra food from these tiles. We need to expand over here, actually, so we can get the sort of production from the hill. We might have to forgo the truffles and build a mine there. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about that yet. But so far, things are working out fairly well. We're back into a positive as far as gold goes. We're back into a positive with happiness. We've increased our culture and faith a little bit. We're not quite at the bottom of the scoreboard here. We're not too far behind Sweden. We definitely need to try some sort of attack on Austria, especially because she has quite a few of the wonders that I want. Also has access to additional silk and copper, and who knows what other unforeseen riches that she has around there on the map. So I think she is probably going to be our first target. So there we go, guys. I hope you are still enjoying this playthrough, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye for now.